Talkin Money.
The action continues now with Talkin Money and Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? A little headphone thing here is either screaming in my ear or I cannot hear a thing. I didn't give out our quiz question before the break, so we were running a little late. So we'll do that now. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140, or you can text us at 441140. And off the text line, hey, Jeff, Sierra Tahoe is open until Monday, 4/23, and limited operations on some dates. So check on that on their Sierra Tahoe website. We do have a couple pair of passes for our winners today. Also off the text line, hey, I think the Maloofs are broken. Don't want to tell anyone. They're leveraged way too far to the city and the NBA. Okay. Okay, so we'll go through those too. 441140. Here's my quiz question. If you missed last week's show, I was discussing some of my. I'd never been to Florida before. Landed in Fort Lauderdale. Did a little water taxi tour, which is kind of fun. We talked about that last week, and you can hear that on our repeat shows there if you want on our Facebook page. But one of the quiz questions for this morning at 339-1140, if you'd like. So in the city of Fort Lauderdale, this actor petitioned the city. So I think, if I recall right, the bars close at 5 a.m. in the city.
At 5 a.m.?
At 5 a.m. they have to close the bars. This actor petitioned to have the bars in the city of Fort Lauderdale be able to open back up full bar at 7 a.m. So they were closed for, count them, 2 hours, and this individual would take his morning stroll to the bar and open it up.
How could you be out at the bars until 5 in the morning and need to be there by 7 the next morning?
I didn't say he was there until maybe he was an early morning drinker. Maybe he was asleep by midnight and up by 7. So this individual, who subsequently moved to California, and
where the bars are open at 7 in the morning?
Where the bars are, I don't know what. No, I think I've seen his picture. I believe he's driving and imbibing allegedly, but. So this individual, let's see, I believe he was also down and out in Beverly Hills. I'm not sure if that's the same person or not.
Too many clues.
Yeah, so 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you know the actor who petitioned the city of Fort Lauderdale to open up the bars at 7 a.m. so he could get his drink on a little earlier. I have not independently verified whether that's true or not, but the 4 taxi guys in a row told us it was the story. So if not, it's the story.
It's local legend.
It's local legend, right. So if you know the answer to that, 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. We'll let you have your choice of some Jim Boy's tacos. I apologize. I didn't get some out in the mail this week. They're coming. And Sierra Tahoe or some cupcake cravings. We'll do that as well. So
if Sierra's only open 17 more days, how are they going to get their tickets?
We're going to have to get them out in the mail quick, or they can come. Well, they can come by the studio, or no, our office and pick them up. Not the studio. Yeah, we're only here for a couple hours. So, if you want to pick them up, tell the phone screener there that you would like to come get them, and if not, we will get them out in the mail on Monday. I promise. So we'll get them out. We'll get them all out. So we can probably take 5 or 6 winners today, maybe even a little bit more for some ski passes, and we'll get those out at 339-1140. Well, I just got a load of stuff. And we can do a little market talk. I also want to get in a little bit of the planning and also a little bit of the online stuff here. I noticed a couple things that were interesting when it comes to some housing things. It looks. I brought this up right at the end of last week's show, and I did not have a chance. No, it is not Eddie Murphy on the 209.
Down and out in Beverly Hills. That was a red herring clue.
Yeah, no, maybe it wasn't. I don't know if it was down and out in Beverly Hills.
Well, this guy is down and out in Beverly Hills, but I don't know that he was on down.
Oh, I can see the movie. Bette Midler was in it. Anyway, we'll have to think about that. I'm pretty sure they found him in the swimming pool trying to drown himself. Wasn't that? Was that down and out in Beverly Hills? I don't know. We'll come back to it. We'll let the clue hang out there. We're getting a lot of people calling in, so. I mentioned this, Mark, last week at the end of last week's show. Let's get your thoughts, because do you have any? You deal with any builder clients or any maybe that are home builders? You run anybody?
I do.
I'm trying to figure out. I need to get a home builder come on the show as a guest, but I'm trying to figure out for the life of me why isn't new home construction doing a lot better right now than it is? Because if you look at the clients, there we go. We got one off the text line. You look at the clients that I've got. And other realtors, you talk to realtors right now, they cannot find homes.
New homes.
Any homes. I mean, they're just, like, there's just a real, it sounds contrary to what we hear in the news, but there's just not a lot of stuff on the market right now.
Totally.
And that which is on the market, quote unquote, is a short sale. We got to wait for the bank to approve it. Or, there's just, the ability to walk in and say, you know what, I really like that house, I'll take it, doesn't exist right now. But in the new home sales, you could walk into the office and say, I'll take it on that lot and I'll have that color. You could do all that stuff. I can't figure out for me, why aren't they doing better?
And privately owned homes too. I mean, because I saw an article that the short sales, the good news is it's about 30 days less to process a short sale than it was last year. But isn't it still like 120 days or 150 days?
If you're starting from scratch, yes.
And like our firm does a lot of estate planning, which means we also do a lot of estate administration. And when somebody's lost a loved one and they've got to sell the home, they read the papers and go, it's going to take us forever to sell the house. And I say, I think it'll probably take you about 30 days to sell the house. And they're like, no, not according to what I'm seeing in the paper. I'm like, according to my experience, that house will be sold in 30 days because somebody will find out that it's a privately owned home, that they don't have to wait 150 days and deal with the bank. They can sit down, make an offer, write a check, be pre-approved for a loan, and they can be in that house and close escrow within 30 days. And that's why those houses are going so quick. A client of mine's a manager of a real estate firm in the Valley, and he says, I could sell 4 times as many houses if there was product. And there's not enough product on the market. And the banks are holding back on these properties for whatever reason, and there is a pent-up demand. And if you can build a house, you can sell. I've got a client of mine who is building houses, and he's only building 8 at a time.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's got those 4 of them sold, then he'll build another 8. And
what price range is he selling in? Do you know?
In the 200 to 400 range.
See. And that's what. And Nick and I were having this discussion a little bit off the air last week, and Nick said, well, maybe they just they're so high into their land costs that they can't deliver a house that's $200,000 to $400,000. But the reality is that what you paid for the land in the past is gone, right? So now you got to and I do understand that just because house prices in general have come down doesn't mean that buying wood, paying for labor, concrete, those things haven't come down in price. So I do understand that that those material costs have not come down like everything else too. So that may be one of the challenges is delivering.
Yeah, until the price of the land, the materials, and the labor to build a house and a reasonable profit meets or exceeds what the bank-owned properties are selling for, you're not going to be seeing new home construction. And I believe that we have now hit that point where you are seeing more activity now to where it is now you can make a profit building a house. And I think we're starting to see that. The number of building permits is up slightly, and I think we're going to see, as we come into the summer, I think you're going to see, you're going to start hearing some more hammers in the neighborhood.
Yes, I caught this article by Michael Shaw out of the Business Journal. Region's new home sales highest in 3 years. So the Greger Group of Folsom, which tracks homes built in the 6-county region, reported sales were up 65% from from a year ago.
Up to 6 houses a month.
Yeah. The total of 649 homes sold is still still small compared to an average of a market where 200,000 per quarter. Excuse me, 2,000 per quarter versus 649. So we're not breaking any records, but it is an indication that they're coming back to life a little bit. And maybe there's maybe the builders had to go through, we're talking about earlier about retooling your business and what you used to do in the old days isn't what you do in the new days. Maybe they had to go through, hell, they went through not a recession, they went through a depression. Mm-hmm. They were basically out of business. And it's interesting even now, and I get people who call me who say, hey, I want to build a house. I want just my own house. I got this lot. I want to build a house on it. And I tell them that it's possible, but very difficult to do, and you will practically have to own the lot free and clear, and then you probably still have to bring in some money to do it. And because when I look at tens and hundreds of appraisals that are coming in for all our different clients, and one of the line items is cost to build this structure, $329. They added up. Appraised value, $279. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even appraise for what it would cost to duplicate
to build it.
What is there, and so that is the world of comps. That Mark Drobny says, "Hey, I want to build my next house, 2,000 square foot house on this lot, and I'm going to do all these nice things. I'm going to put these nice features in." And I said, "That's great, Mark, but you're going to have a house that you're going to be into this place for $400,000, and there's 2 down the street. Now, it doesn't have the same color granite you liked, and it doesn't have the same roofing material, but for the most part, it's similar. yours is going to be, you're going to be in it for 400. I can go show you that house for 289 right now.
So would a bank loan me money to build that house?
They will loan you 80% of 289.
Yeah.
So they'll loan you what the comparable sales are for it. So yeah, you can do it, but we're in a world of financing where people are thinking, okay, I'll put down 3.5% to 10% down. In the world of construction, you're going to have to own the lot and probably still put some more money down, because all the bank cares about is they don't want to make the one white elephant loan to the Mark Drobny estate because he decided to put all pink tile in. They want to know that if he leaves, there's 3 other houses that just sold like it for 289. We know we can put Mark's house on the market and sell it for 289 tomorrow because the rest of them did. We're not going to loan him $400,000 because he decided to go overboard and and overbuild. Mm-hmm. That's the challenge with construction loans if you're out on your own. And I'm guessing that's been some of the challenge here for the new home builders is they're like, hey, even if I do everything for free, no profit at all, I'm still going to be in above the market value of what the similar houses are selling for.
Well, the other thing that's got to shake out for new home construction to begin is who owns the dirt. And a lot of your old, pre-crash builders had borrowed to buy the land.
Yeah.
And that land has now been repossessed by the bank. And until the bank can resell that land to the new generation of builder, there's not going to be any construction. And the banks are now starting to do that. So we're seeing the last generation of builders, the good ones that owned their land and didn't leverage themselves, will survive and thrive. The rest of them that had leveraged themselves to the hilt, they're gone. They're dinosaurs. They don't exist anymore. The banks are now going to sell that dirt to a whole new generation of builders. So you're going to see 10 years from now, the major builders are people that didn't exist 15 years ago.
You look at, this was an interesting snapshot, and we'll take one more break here in just a minute out of the Wall Street Journal. You look at how important housing is as a part of just the overall economy. And in the peak of what they have on this chart is 2005, housing was about 6.3% of GDP. So the entire goods and services produced in our country, housing was a little over 6% of that. It was a big kicker. Right now, we just had our best quarter in a long time, and it's 2.3%. So, and you go back and say, okay, well, 2005 was unrealistic, Jeff. That was a fluke, and it was the tippy-top point. But go back to 1990, 1991, 95. It's always been around that 4% mark. We're still half of even in the early 90s, so we're way down there.
But that means there's still 94% of GDP is still out there doing something else. So is that 6% of the whole economy going to affect the entire 100%?
Well, it certainly has been a big kicker, hasn't it? Because look, when we went from 6 to 2, we really felt it.
But then look at how many corporations are sitting on billions of dollars that they could be using to be creating jobs and doing other things. So the gloom we see in the paper. I mean, every time I go out to eat, I still have to wait an hour to get a table. And every time I go to the mall, there's still people carrying shopping bags.
Yeah.
Look at Apple stock is doing well. And
Apple's is finally released a little bit of their money too. They've been sitting on all their cash. They're richer than the U.S. government.
Yeah.
On a net cash basis.
They're bigger than most countries.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to see, regardless of who wins the political election, wherever you come out, I'm anxious to see what happens in December, January, and February of next year, because I think that a lot of companies are sitting on their cash. Some of it, I think, is Obamacare. They're not sure what that does that mean. Is that going to go forward or not? So that'll shake out. And then if Obama wins, they know what they have for the next 4 years. If he doesn't win and a Republican wins, then they'll have what they believe that'll produce in the next 4 years. But it's gonna unleash some. I think it's going to unleash some cash coming out in the first quarter, and I think we're going to get a bump because we're either going to have what we had, Obama, we know what we've got, or there's going to be some optimism that it's going to be more of a pro-business. And either way, I think you're going to see things move. And right now, between now and November, I think everybody's going to sit around with their thumb in their nose, just trying to figure out what do I want to do here, and do I want to do anything? So, interesting to see. We did get our winner. Was this off the text line or was this a caller? Oh, both. You got a couple of them. Okay. So Nick Nolte was the answer to our quiz question.
I know your listeners are shocked. Nick did that?
I just can't see that guy drinking at 7 a.m. in the morning. Hey, I mentioned this one. This was a kind of a pre-quiz question I did on Facebook during the week, and I gave out the question so you could look up the answer. So we'll do this at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140, or you can text me at 441140. This Major League Baseball team has 5 active roster players whose all last names begin with Mick. So MC something, like McDonald's, but Mick. So this has never happened, or has not happened since 1912. We had 5 active players who were all Mick somethings.
And I'll bet none of them are of Scottish descent.
I don't, and I bet this team doesn't spend $50 million either. 339-1140. What is the Major League Baseball team? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140. This is Talkin' Money. Jeff Tarbell, Mark Drobny will be right back.